Hi there, this is Mark, and welcome to Enhancing the Human Experience, the podcast designed to help you get the most out of life. This episode, it's all about the art of the shift. It's about shifting your consciousness, your state of being, your mindset from a losing standpoint, from a losing perspective to a winning perspective, right? A losing feeling to a winning feeling. It's so vital as we move toward our goals and dreams and getting success in life, right? The reality is that we live in a world that is predominantly negative, right? The culture, the society, the whole state of the world leans towards negativity. The challenge for all of us is to not pay attention to that, right? To not accept that, because if we accept that, guess what we're going to get? We're going to get negative results, right? We're not going to get the things we want in our lives. So we have to always move toward positivity and the outcomes that we want to have in life, or else we're just never going to win, right? And that none of us wants that. So in this episode, I'm going to share with you a number of techniques and ways that you can shift your state of consciousness, your state of being, from a winning attitude or from a losing attitude to a winning attitude, because we have to have that state of consciousness in order to take the actions necessary to get what we want in life, right? It all comes down to action. The mindset is just the means, right? It's the tool that allows us to take the actions. If we don't take the actions, nothing ever changes, right? So I'm going to go through this list of things that I've picked up over the years from books and people and teachers that are effective in causing that shift, in causing you to keep that winning feeling. Right? And I'm going to read a short passage from Maxwell Maltz's awesome book, Psycho-Cybernetics, which is super amazing. And I'm going to read a passage on that where he talks about the winning feeling. But before we do that, I just want to remind you that you can always find detailed show notes and bullet points and really quick information about this podcast on my website, gmarkphillips.com. If you don't have time to listen to the show, or you just want to go and pick up quick little bullet points and just the actual nuggets and get on with your day, you can go find that at gmarkphillips.com. And I also provide a one-sentence summary of the show, which is sometimes kind of challenging because to summarize what I talk about in one sentence is a challenge for me, but I am up to that challenge because I want you to have the best experience. And if you don't have time, I don't want you to have to waste your time listening to a bunch of stuff. So I really try to encapsulate all that I talk about in the show in that one sentence. So you can go and check that out on my website. All right, so let's get into it here. We're going to talk about a number of ways, and this is really an art form. We're going to talk about a number of ways that we can shift our state of being from the idea that it's not working out, that I'm not getting to the progress that I want, that I'm not realizing my goal, that it's all a failure, that I'm a failure, to the idea that everything's working out, it's working out perfectly, it's coming, I'm getting the winning feeling. So the first one is dress like it, right? When we know that when we dress well, we feel well, right? When we dress good, we feel good. Get into clothes that you feel powerful in, that you feel like a powerful creator in, right? If you're in frumpy, baggy stuff that is making you feel like a frumpy, baggy person, guess what? You're not going to be able to take those high-level actions that you need to take in order to get what you want. So the first one is dress for success. Age-old principle. This is nothing new. The second one is clean up your space and environment, right? If your space is cluttered, if there aren't, if it's not the way that it needs to be in order for you to create and move forward in your goals and dreams, you're not going to, right? This is all about feng shui and the power of place. Our environments are like a biofeedback for us, right? If we're in a cluttered environment, our mind's going to be cluttered, right? I know that I work so much better when I have clear surfaces, nothing but the project that I'm working on right now, because I can focus my attention just on that. Maybe you're like that as well. If you've got 20 projects on your desk, guess where your focus is going to be? It's going to be scattered. It's going to be fragmented, and that sucks because you're not going to be able to give that deep focus to the one project that you need to knock it out and move forward. So that's suggestion number 2, clean up your environment, clean up your space. Now, the third idea that I want to share is this notion of having inspirational, encouraging pictures, posters, dream board type stuff around you. And I like to call these ideas more success board or success images, where they're not necessarily pictures of things that you want, but inspirational pictures. Think of the big, those big posters that you see in corporate environments, the accessories posters. I can't remember the gentleman's name that started that company, but what a great idea, right? Those are so good. Even though they've kind of become caricatures of themselves and they're kind of cheesy to a degree, they're really not cheesy at all. Like, sometimes cheesy is good, right? So get stuff like that. You can make a success board, which you can just compile a bunch of them on an 8x10 or 11x17, print it out at the printer, put it on your refrigerator, or carry it with you in your planner, right? And look at it, keep it in mind. And those things can shift your state of consciousness, right? Because it's all about the information you put into your brain, right? I love talking about this notion, and it's built upon Henry Ford's famous saying, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. I love looking at the other side of the coin to that, and I've talked about this before, of whether you think you are or whether you think you aren't, you're right, right? That's the I am portion of Henry Ford's statement. It precedes the doing, right? I am precedes I can. And so I like to look at that. I think it's two sides of the same coin, the personal development coin, which is I am and I can. So those types of images are hugely beneficial in moving toward your goals and dreams. So make a success board today and put it up on your refrigerator or carry it with you in your planner. And it really has the ability to powerfully shift your consciousness. The next idea here is something that I was recently reminded again about in an amazing book called Purple Crayon Confidence. And it's this notion that putting a rubber band on your wrist, and when you catch yourself thinking negatively, thinking that it's not working, that I'm not realizing my goal, that I'm maybe not worthy to realize my goal, you flip the rubber band, right? And that gives you a sensory reminder, hey, get back on track and quit thinking those bogus thoughts, right? Flipping the rubber band, maybe you need to flip it 20 times a day, maybe you don't need to flip it at all. But whenever you catch yourself thinking like that, you flip the rubber band and you get a thought that is positive, right? An I can thought or I am thought that aligns you with your goal or dream, right? That helps you get that winning feeling. So that's an awesome way, a sensory way to shift you back into that winning feeling. The next one here is body posture, right? Anthony Robbins talks extensively about this. When you stand up tall, when you open your chest, when you walk head up and smile, right, you're going to feel better. And you can do that any point in time, and it will shift your state, right? He talks extensively about it. He's like the guru and the master of this, right? Talking about body shifting of the state of mind, right? So body posture is huge. Another one that I like is carrying around little pocket cards, right? With sayings and things that you've picked up from personal development books and coaches in the past that kind of give you a short little cliff notes of how to shift your state. And some of the things that I have on mine are, assume the feeling that would be yours if you already had what you wanted or were already doing what you want, right? That's coming from Neville Goddard. Like Maxwell Maltz talks about, and we're going to get to his stuff in a minute. Get the winning feeling, right? Imagine yourself as already being the person that is doing what you want, already doing the things you want, already having the things you want. Use your imagination to help you create that feeling of success inside of you. So fill that card up with a bunch of personal development statements and reminders that help you shift your state of being when you're in those funky moods. Because once you realize that the negative feeling will never get you what you want, you won't want to have it anymore, because you want to have the life that you want. You want to have the amazing experiences. The problem is we are so conditioned to keep those negative thoughts and feelings in our bodies and mind, and then we wonder, why am I not getting what I want, right? Once you realize they're never going to serve you, you'll want to shift away from them. It's still going to be challenging. It's still going to take practice. But once you realize they'll never get you what you want, and you find out that it is honing in on that feeling and capturing the feeling 24/7, 365 of winning and success, and I'm getting my goal, right? In the present tense, in the first person, right? Once you realize that's all it takes, you'll want to continually shift away from negative, because we've seen it all the time, right? One of the most popular success posters or success pictures around is, you'll never get a positive result from a negative thought or a negative feeling, right? We know that, but the predominance is toward that. So it's all about being aware that that's negativity, thinking or feeling is never going to get you a positive result. And you will move away from that thing like a bad plague, right? You'll never want to go there again. So it's all about awareness and being aware when you shift into those states, and then taking the initiative to shift yourself out of those states. So that's the notes, right? And again, it's all about getting that winning feeling. And hey, some people go as far as to tattoo positive messages and inspirational and encouraging quotes or reminders onto themselves, onto their forearm. I think that's super bold, and I love that. I personally am not there yet, but I love it when I see people do that, because they're taking a big stand and saying, look, I'm so pissed off that there's negative like thinking and predominance in my consciousness, and that it's causing me not to get my goals. I'm going to tattoo this thing on my arm so that I'm always reminded to think positively, to think about the winning feeling, and to get that success consciousness. Huge, big props out to you people who've done that. You are my heroes, literally my heroes. All right, so let's get into Maxwell Maltz here, the guru of this kind of stuff, talking about the winning feeling. So I'm going to read this section of his book, Psycho-Cybernetics, and it's going to be, I'll pull a quote of the week out of this section. But here we go. Okay, this is just a short passage. So this is from Psycho-Cybernetics. And he says, thus, if we dwell upon failure and continually picture failure to ourselves in such vivid detail that it becomes real to our nervous system, we will experience the feelings that go with failure. On the other hand, if we keep our positive goal in mind and picture it to ourselves so vividly as to make it real, and think of it in terms of an accomplished fact, we will also experience, quote, winning feelings, self-confidence, courage, and faith that the outcome will be desirable. We cannot consciously peek into our creative mechanism and see whether it is geared for success or failure, but we can determine its present set by our feelings. When it is set for success, we experience that winning feeling. And if there is one simple secret to the operation of your unconscious creative mechanism, it is this: call up, capture, evoke the feelings of success. So that's from Maxwell Maltz, Psycho-Cybernetics. That's the key to life right there. Those three words. In my opinion, I've seen it over and over from all the gurus, all of the new thought leaders, all of the personal development experts. Feeling of success, feeling like you're winning, feeling like you already are the person you want to be, feeling like you're doing the things you want to be doing and that you have the things you want, right? When you think that your life is not going the way you want it to go, that's no help to you at all. That's actually not a help to you at all. And I even go so far as to tell people, and I do this in my own life too, lie to yourself. What's the big deal? We're all telling ourselves a lie anyway, because none of us is our story. None of us is really who we think we are anyway, and we may never know who we really are. I think high-level gurus and yogis and people who meditate on tops of mountaintops for their whole lives, I think they come close to it. And some actually do know who they are, the true self, the big S, right? Behind our story, the infiniteness that we are, right? But lie to yourself, because we're all living a story anyway, and you might as well create the story in your imagination that you want to have your life be. So the three words that you could probably throw away all of your personal development books. And I've thought about this myself. I'm not quite there yet, but feeling like the success that you want to be, feeling of success. So that's what this podcast is all about. It's all about the art of the shift, shifting from the losing feeling to the winning feeling. So I hope it's been helpful. I hope you've gathered something beneficial that'll help you on your journey and help you realize the goals and dreams you want to have, and most of all, live the life that you want to live. So that's it. That's the podcast. If you like this show, give it a thumbs up on YouTube if you're watching there, or subscribe to the podcast. Leave me a review on iTunes. That would be super awesome. I love those reviews. And until next time, all the best, health, wealth, and success to you. Bye-bye.